The planet is not in danger. You are in danger. By Krishnamurti. Hello, everyone. This is author PB Flower. Welcome to the 18th episode of my podcast. Today's topic is quite the burning one, actually: climate change. Krishnamurti was very clear when it came to nature, because climate change is the change in nature. So when he said that the planet is not in danger, you are in danger, he also went on to say that nature knows how to recycle everything to maintain the energy level in the universe. So I want to quickly digress and touch on the next sci-fi thriller that I'm writing. My work in progress is about the energy drop in the universe. Like Yuji said, that, there's energy in our universe. Obviously, that's what's driving it. So back to Yuji. He is indicating that we as humans perhaps don't need to think of ourselves that grand, that we can destroy or build something as balanced and cyclical and self-sustained as the nature. And I keep referring to this engineered being in my series that is exactly interested in that. He doesn't think of himself as grand as the nature. So using and abusing is the same for him, because that's how the animals are. Animals are not analyzing their actions because it's all about survival for them. So this engineered being, he exploits all the resources at his disposal. So he's embodiment of the destroyer. I said that before, right? So he's just here to destroy everything. So let's read an excerpt from my series, All Kal None, to understand this a little bit more. I mean, the nature part of it and the climate change. So premise here is that the engineered being Eklavya and the human hybrid Zenith on Earth are in a heated debate over many topics like climate, ethics, and the liberal ways in general. So because we know that liberals are very passionate and vocal about their agenda, and climate change is one of them. So Eklavya is saying, how do I explain this to you, Z? Can you really not see? The very people talking about climate change are responsible for it. Give me one person living a sustainable life who has time to go out and write about the ecosystem. Someone who truly understands will always be in doubt, lacking, and so they will be busy working on improving themselves, not blaming others. Only the all-knowing fool is rooting for a cause they don't fully understand. So by now Zenith knows, this excerpt is from the second book, so by now Zenith knows that she needs to think about what Eklavya has said before starting to yell, because earlier she would just start yelling. She loves to yell, like me. So Zenith analyzed his expression and looped it back to ethics, which was one of the topics they were discussing here. So she says, then we need to diminish the unethical demand first. So that's the draw she made. So Eklavya replies, it is a start. If exposed to the scale of things, a normal person will go in shock and give up, or become numb and get sucked back in this loop. Only a handful of them become realized, detached, and self-sustained. So Zenith felt shook after hearing that. And I also want to point out that, with the rise in social media and all the videos that are circulating around, if you look at them, some of them that are on the climate change, and you look at the scale of things, you would also be shocked. You would be shocked at the rate at which we are destroying things. We are just so cocooned. We just live in our home. We go out and we tend to ignore everything else other than the agenda that is taking us out. We don't want to think about anything else. So Zenith is saying, is it that bad, huh? So Eklavya replies to that, did you not see the darkness in my eyes? So Zenith stopped playing with his hair and she stared in his black rounds and sprung out quickly when it started to engulf her, because Eklavya is, like I said, he's the embodiment of the destroyer, and if you look too deeply in his eyes, you would start seeing the abyss of this creation, which is very deep. So she proceeds to further the discussion and not look in his eyes. So she says, but climate change remains an issue. You do admit that. So Eklavya says, climate is changing. Change is inevitable. Let it happen. He smirked, collecting her fear of his dark eyes. Let humans exploit nature. Nature will regain balance most cruelly. Ecleve stated the law of nature ever so smoothly. So, this is what Yuji meant when he said that the planet is not in danger. You are, because nature is so powerful. I mean, have you ever been caught in a natural disaster? If you have, you would know. You can't fight it. You can't fight it. It's the law of randomness that works, and maybe that's why you are here to tell the tale of it all. But nature is very powerful. And if it strikes back, it's going to win. There's no way that we will win. Humans are not that grand. And that's what Yuji is saying, that when nature would decide to strike back, we will be in danger, because nature is not in danger. It can recuperate really easily. I mean, look at the corona situation. When we stopped traveling, when we stopped going out, everything was coming back to the way it was. Even the animals came out of the hiding and they were roaming around. Of course, now it has gotten back to shit again. So anyway, we need not worry about the nature, okay? Because it will take care of itself. And when it does, it will certainly not be favorable for us or many other species, actually. But those species are not even thinking about it. We are the only ones, because this is life. So in my series, All Kal None, as I said before, the main character, the engineered being, in every parallel, actually, where he comes to exist, he destroys the planet that he reincarnates on. He destroys it. He doesn't care. And the last planet in this series, which is Joro, he completely annihilates it with technological inventions that change the climate drastically, because I think he did it over the course of 7 years or so when he came to be on that planet. And it's in my third book in great detail what all he invented and what he did. Because, he's the embodiment of the destroyer, or Shiva, and the destroyer, when he actually destroys that planet Joro, Shiva actually came to see that, along with Holy River, another character. And he was actually very happy to see the destruction, because guess what? Nature is cyclical and nothing is here to stay forever. So it is going to get destroyed. Maybe us humans are here to do just that, aid Shiva in his mission. That's why we are destroying everything. But on a serious note, if we do not separate ourselves from the nature, we will perhaps slow down the rate at which we are damaging it. But it will still get destroyed and renewed again, because that's just what it is. It is cyclical. Because not for a second we should think that we can restore the state of nature back to what it was. And 200 or 250 years ago, because I think it started with the Industrial Revolution, the pace at which we are now, which is really fast, even for us humans. And these so-called people who are screaming about climate change are not vegan by any chance, not all of them. And even if they are vegan, they most certainly drive a car or something that is polluting the air, which is not climate friendly. Please don't mention Tesla or any other electrical car, because again, have you looked at the recycling of that massive battery that is in use in there? Because most of the time we just take the word for it. We are like, we join the crowd, that's going towards the new thing. And very few of us do the research that is needed to get to the root of things. Anything artificial is not to restore the native state of nature. Please bear that in mind. And I'm not saying that I am better, but I'm not going out in the street and writing that, climate is changing, let's do something about it. How can I? I'm using internet, okay? I have plastic all over my house. I buy paper towels. I wear clothes that use all these dyes. I buy grocery, most of the time organic, but even organic grocery uses pesticide, I think. But anyway, so also when these people, let's say that they are vegan and they ride a bike to commute every day, even then, do you live in a mud home? No. Do you grow your own food? No, I don't suppose so. Not everything that you're eating. Do you go and kill your own whatever animal you eat for meat? No, because most of us, and I'm telling you, most of us, 99% of us, if we would see how those animals are being killed, we would stop eating meat. Or maybe, like I said, we would go in shock and get back in the loop and just ignore the fact that how animals are being killed. Because that's just who we are. We just know how to draw a line and shut ourselves out and just live in a cocoon. We're just so good at that. So, well, again, let's read another excerpt and look into the sustainable living bullshit that we so believe we are practicing. And I know some people are like, oh, every bit helps. Well, great, go on and do that, but just don't tell me to do it. So again, another excerpt here. The characters are Zenith and Iklav because these two exist on Earth and we can very much relate to them when it comes to climate change, which is today's topic for discussion. So Zenith and Iklav are discoursing here, and Zenith says, why can't we be self-sustained? So she's wondering, not actually asking. So Iklavya replies to her because he is here to cleanse her. She is very human, very conditioned, and he needs her for something else. He is on earth to do something and he needs her. So he's cleansing her. He's pulling her out of that conditioning. So he replies saying, not everyone wants to be Mowgli. So Iklav is actually mocking her absurd want of being self-sustained. So she snarled at him and then he says, it is all about the economy. Self-sustenance is an individual concept. Big companies don't work at that level, meaning they don't work at individual level, he explained. It's very complicated. Are you interested in what is actually happening? So he questioned her. So Zenith responds by saying, well, I'm scared to know now, but go on. So she does want to know. So Iklav begins to explain biological influence, population control, money. Big companies benefit by moving the product around, calling off exemptions, taxes, taking trade benefits, tax evading, growing and showing little profit, weakening the germinal intelligence in the general population. But your so-called liberals, they got the whiff of unethical practices by these corporations. So he snickered, playing with the tresses of her hair that were falling on her face. He's very much in love with her. She appears very pretty to him. In reality, she's not. But she's like average looking, like most of us. Not a model, but he really loves her. So Zenith, being a liberal, got mad. And she's saying, I'll get to the liberals in a minute. But first, is it really unethical? She's asking. So Iklav throws a slew of questions at her when she brought this ethics thing. So he's saying, depends. And then he gave a puckered frown and said, do you want to see everything in abundance? Do you love having choices? Do you love living in your home with amenities? Do you think about where your food is coming from? Do you want to take the time and energy needed to grow pure organic food and then make it from scratch? Do you like the fact that everything is available at the touch of a button? Do you even require physical dependency? Above all, do you even have time for all this? So Zenith was like barraged with all these questions, and now she's curled her lip and she sensed the trap that she was being led into. So she replies, we trust our democratically elected government to provide. That is what it is for, to work for the people that elected them. That is why we pay taxes. She's so delusional, okay? because that's how we are. That's how most of the people are. We think that democracy is the best thing to happen to us. But anyway, we'll get to that in some other podcast. So Eklavya is amused by that, and he is saying, no one is working for the people. Elected officials remain in the gray area of doing just enough and not enough. So I think that's the key takeaway probably. But there's another thing that we do not want to compromise on our lifestyle. When he asked all these questions, that's what Eklavya was pointing out to, that most of us, we don't want to compromise our lifestyle, the one that we have come to be so used to. We have come to depend on it so much. But yet, here we are, we believe that we can make a difference. Our efforts are not consistent or 100%. We have so many other things going on, not just the climate change. We also like our government because it is just like us. It is doing just enough to feel good. And a handful of people who are probably doing something about it, about the climate change, they get sucked into politics and the loop of life. They can't independently do something unless it's all these rich people who are trying to do, but their agenda is very clouded. We don't even want to go there, okay? Because they have this mask over here, but behind that, it's all about profit. They're not doing anything to not make profit. So, and if you're using technology again, none of the technology is fully sustainable, okay? Even the wind energy. Have you seen what is behind those colossal mass of windmills that they put out there? I mean, do you know how they harvest that energy? It is not green by any means. Maybe they have eliminated one step when it comes to deriving energy from coal or nuclear reactors that we have. But why? Because us humans cannot. Why is that? I mean, I'm saying, why is it that we can't be fully sustainable, self-sustained? Because us humans cannot consume anything the way it occurs in nature. We have just forgotten that. We have come too far. We just can't do it. We have some level of processing associated even when we eat the raw fruit. Farming, it is not 100% organic unless you grow it yourself in your own garden, which is not treated with pesticides, without any external boost, like any fertilizers or anything. But maybe then you will see how most of it gets eaten up by all these insects and pests. Because I have done that. My husband loves to grow stuff. And we did harvest a lot of tomatoes this year, and cucumber and many other vegetables actually. And he just threw the seeds away and just let it grow. And it did, but there were so many insects. There were mice that came. I mean, there was a whole ecosystem out there that just came to be. And because we did not use pesticides or anything, we could still harvest some of it, but we still had to go to the grocery store and buy something, So it wasn't fully self-sustained. And if we become fully self-sustained, I'm pretty sure we'll have to do with some external boost, because we just can't do without that. We can't, like the lions in the wild, we can't just eat every few days. We eat 3 times a day, 4 times a day. I don't know. Our lifestyle is just so polluted. It's just so polluted. There's no way that we can be self-sustained. It's a long road ahead of us. So what do we do, right? I mean, nothing would be best. But if you so itch to do something, stop being a consumer. That's the best way to start. And when I say stop being a consumer of anything. But can you do that? Would the society let you? Because society is all about dependency. We want to be interdependent so that we don't go out and become self-sustained. So I guess we can't do that. Why is there so much ruckus about climate change? When we are the one destroying it. When we are the ones not putting the 100% that's required to do something about it. every little bit does not help, not at the pace that the nature goes. But whatever floats your boat. Well, thank you for listening in. Until next time, this is PB Flower signing off.